20 bucks. 20 bucks. On the line for 20 bucks. Hi guys, it's Jabor from Montreal. And I'm Maggie. I popped up again, Mrs. Calabash. Come into the kitchen. It's nice and warm and cozy. Actually, Derek messed up for the show and he left me, thankfully, 2 minutes and I don't know how many seconds to fill. So I want to take the opportunity. I want to contact with you and I'd like to know a little bit more about you. If you have any ideas on what you would like me to show more, vegetarian dishes, fish dishes, chicken dishes, any cooking procedure which you're not sure about, and I'll see if I can fit it into the show. So go to Mrs. Calabash Cooks on Facebook. I will answer any questions that, if I can, that you ask, and on there you'll find lots of different tips and recipes. Like we have tips for basic sauce measurements, and so you've got pouring sauce, a coating sauce which just coats the back of the spoon, or a panada which is a binding sauce, and all the different, you make them all the same way but different measurements. And people that know me know that I used to be in the manufacturing side in England with an international firm, and I used to have all my different rubs and spices, and so I'm getting them all together now and making a list so that I will be featuring on the show. And whilst I've got your attention, Crittlewood Farms, thank you so much, Dale, for your support. They're local, they're in your local stores. It's cold pressed sunflower oil. Absolutely delicious. So thank you very much, guys, and I will see you again, and the music will play me out and the other Maggie will pop up. So thanks, guys. Don't forget Mrs. Calabash Cooks. 20 bucks. 20 bucks. On the line for 20 bucks. They keep on playing, but nobody's paying. More than some nickels and some dimes. Hi guys, it's Jabor from Montreal. Welcome everyone to Mrs. Calabash. Come into my kitchen. And Maggie, also known as Mrs. Calabash. Now today it's a beautiful, crisp, fall coming into winter day. And I just got the right recipe for it. We're making a cheeseburger soup, which is a main course meal in form of a soup, and some cheesy, what do we call them? Cheesy patties to go to eat with it instead of eating bread. So to begin with, I've got here, I've just got some, it's some puff pastry that was in a block, and I've defrosted. You can see I'm rolling it out. It's going to be a bit of a toss-up as to get these cooked, to get the soup cooked, but let's just go back to the stove and we'll start with the soup, because it's got, the soup's got ground beef in, and I want to cook the ground beef, so come back with me. Here I've just melted a little butter, because I've got a very lean ground beef. I might need to take some fat away. I'm not quite sure. Let's see what happens. But I want to put this in. You notice I've had the meat, I brought the meat up to room temperature. I've had it out of the fridge for about half an hour. And this just gives it time to relax, and you get a much nicer, tenderer meat. So have a good either skillet or Dutch oven, because this really is a meal cooked in one pan. As people who know me know, I hate washing up, so I do anything that I can cook in one pan to save any washing up. So if you've got a good Dutch oven, you can take this to the table and you can serve from that. So let's just get rid of that. This gets hot, so I need to turn the handles. So the ground beef doesn't take long to cook. I've just got it on a medium heat. So I'll come back and give that a stir in a minute. There we are. But it's almost cooked. And just a little juice is coming out, which is great. I don't think with this one there's going to be any fat to drain. Now, with ground beef, actually, the most flavoursome beef is the sort of lower grade beef, because it has got fat in it, and fat is a flavour enhancer. So as you go towards the leaner ground beef, it doesn't have quite so much flavour. And so that's why I say, if you're using a plain ground beef, cook it, and if there's too much fat come out as you do it, just drain it, and then you can get rid of it and you've still got the flavour. So let's go back and get the pastry rolled out. Come back with me. I didn't look when I bought the pastry. I should have done from the size of the packet. I just assumed that the pastry sheets would have been rolled out. And I do actually prefer pastry like this in a block, because I find the pastry sheets a little bit thin. So I've used half a packet of a 14-ounce packet of puff pastry. Cut it in half, the rest's gone in the freezer. Now, you notice you can see the little air holes. I don't know if you can see them, the little bubbles. You notice that I'm going in short, sharp bursts like that. And just keep turning it round. I'm trying to just, how big? I've got to get just a little bit more, because I don't want them to be too thin. I like to be able to taste the pastry. So it takes about an hour to defrost. Just put it on the side. If you take it out too early and it gets too defrosted, it's a little bit of a job to roll. So I think that'll be large enough. I've got to get 8 pieces. We can always come back to it and have a look at it. So we're going back to the stove again. Come on, Derek, follow me. Boom. Let's put this over to the back, just for the moment. Give it another stir. Oh yes, that's looking really good. So I'm going to bring it forward. And whilst we're here, I'm going to add some onions, which I've cut and diced. I've got a sweet onion for this. I like sweet onions with cheese, because I know the recipe says take the meat out, put it on a plate. I like to cook the onions with the meat, and then I've got all the flavour. And I've not got that much excess fat in here, so it's fine. And carrots. Again, I've sliced them thinly because I want them to cook. So we've got the onion in here and the carrots. As I said before, the carrots are sliced very, very thinly, so they all cook together. And I've not added the second amount of butter because of the little bit of fat and moisture that came out of the beef. I don't need it. So let's just stir that and let it mingle nicely, cook slowly. And there we are. Let's go back to the butcher block. In here, I've got the onion, which has been sliced and cooked. And I know on the recipe it says transfer to a bowl.
Put it on top of the other pot so I can see it.
There we are. The onion, which has been cooked and is now transparent. I know on the recipe it says transfer to a bowl. No, bother. I thought, oh, why bother? I can do it all in here. Saves washing up. So come on, back with me. On to my favourite hobby horse, washing up. Now, we have, where's the recipe? I have lost the recipe. But I do know what to do, actually. Oh, here we are. I can just show you that I've got onion, butter, strong grated cheese. Now, again, I got odds and ends in the bottom of the cheese drawer, and I've got some really good, strong English cheese, some Havarti, some cheddar, and I've mixed them all together. And mustard, a teaspoonful of mustard. Now, I've mixed, this is ground mustard.
That would make the medicine go down?
That makes the medicine go down, definitely. Especially if you're old man Coleman in Norwich. He's the mustard maker. And he was a friend of my great-grandfather's. And he used to, because we only had ground mustard in those days, and he used to say, it's not the amount of mustard that people eat, it's the amount of mustard that they put on the side of the plate and they waste, which makes me rich. So I just grind down some mustard seeds, add a little water or milk to it, and you get mustard. And it's got a much nicer flavour. So that's going to be, I know Derek pulls a face. He only likes horrible yellow mustard. Yuck. I don't think it ought to be called mustard, but there we are. I'm going to mix that together, and we're going to add, I've got 3/4 cup of grated cheese here, all odds and ends, but good strong flavoured cheese. And we're going to mix this together, and that's going to form the inside of the patties. So we need to cut this into 8, so let's, so I can get it something like even. And I'm going to turn it over, the pastry over, because the rolled side of the pastry is always the nicest side. And I need that into 4, that into 4, and these into half again, and we're going to make like the long fingers, like that. I'm taking the long way round because I don't have, as you probably realise by now, I don't have much eye for size or straight lines. So I have to sort of be a little bit careful, and I want them to match like that. There we are. Flip those. There we go. So, there we are. I'm going to flip them back again because we're going to put some of this mixture on each one, like that. So, a little mixture on each one. And you notice that I'm leaving some space around the edge. So it's a mixture on 4 of them because the other one goes on the top. And we got to get these in the oven to be cooked. I've got my oven on about 430 because the oven seems to be, it's a little bit slow. It's a little bit on the slow side. So I usually put it on about 5 degrees higher than stated. But these have got a nice mustard. You can use any mustard. I like a nice tasting mustard. Actually, if it was left to me on this, I would have put a little horseradish in there. But I don't think that would be to Derek's taste. So I've left it out. I've been kind to him today. He's laughing, yeah. He doesn't know how kind. There we are. Little does he know when he tastes it. So, and we've got some beaten egg, just a little beaten egg. And so we're going to brush down the sides like that, like that. Get that spoon out of the way and put this one on the top, press it down around the edges. And so I find it easier actually to brush the one that is going to go on the top, and then you're not messing around with the filling. Press it down, and it's called knocking up the edges, and I'll show you what that means. You need a knife with a flat blade, and it does two things. It seals the pastry together, and it gives a nice edging. And it's what we do with sausage rolls and pie crusts. And it's really, really easy to do. So let me get rid of this. Just wipe the board of the egg. And I've got a very old knife with a flat edge. And you use your knuckle like that and push like that to make layers. Like that. Push it, and then we're going to take these two fingers, and I don't know if you can see me do this, can you, Derek? Press down like that, press down with these two fingers, pull these back and push that one forward, like that. The pastry has got a little bit soft. I mean, I'm using, oh, I didn't knock that one up. Never mind. I'm using puff pastry today, but if you want to make your own short crust pastry or flaky pastry, by all means do that. Short crust pastry is half fat to flour, and a flaky pastry is 3/4 fat to flour. And if you want to make your own puff pastry, that's equal quantities of fat to flour. So it's a little bit, I don't think it's worth making. I make my own flaky pastry because that's nice and easy, but to make puff pastry, you're there all morning. It's you roll it out, put it to rest for 35 minutes, roll it out again, put it to rest. You do that about 4 or 5 times, and then you actually get round to rolling out the pastry. I've got some herbs on there. Whoa, look, we put that one. There we are. Now, we're going to just brush these with a little egg on the top. Be careful not to get it on the side, because if you get any egg on the side, it's going to seal it and stop it rising. That's why we always put egg on the top before we cut into it, so that, oh look, that one's gone. Let me get a piece of cloth, piece of pastry, flour, paper. I'm trying to hurry too much and making a mess. But it's all in the day in the kitchen, isn't it? I mean, some days things go absolutely according to plan, and other days, look, it's anything but. That's because I didn't beat the egg hard enough. And to stop that, actually, which I should have done, just put a little salt in there, and that stops it doing that. There we are. Now, it will show up where I've not egg washed it, but I like just to cut it with some scissors like that, just to let the steam out. Okay, so they go in the oven. There we are. Let's give this a quick stir. Yes, we're ready for the next stage. It's cooked beautifully. There's no excess fat in there. Beautiful. So let me just go back and clean up the table, and then we'll go and try the soup. It's a little bit messy. So this is where, if you bought the puff pastry that's rolled into sheets, you just open up a sheet and it's ready. So, but for a pie or anything, I do prefer the pastry like I just bought, and you can roll it out to the thickness that you like. I find the others a little bit thin, especially for a vol au vent. If you're making vol au vents, that pastry is too thin. We'll make vol au vents one day, a bit nearer to Christmas. We'll have some nice vol au vents to go with the soup. I like vol au vents for aperitif. That looks a bit grotty. Let me just give it a quick brush. There we are. So just make sure your tabletop is clear, your working surface is clear. My mother, I've still got my mother's pastry board actually, because you've never rolled out. She would never ever roll out on a piece of, on a board like this. This is her pastry board. That's my mum's pastry board, and that's what she used to roll out on. And that must be, oh, I'm 77, that's 87 years old. She had it when she was first married. So I use it for all sorts of things, but not for rolling out pastry. Anyway, let's go back to the stove and concentrate on the soup. So this is cooked beautifully. So you see on here I've got my herbs. I've got basil, garlic powder, oregano, paprika, and dried parsley, and that adds the flavour. We've got a little milk, some sour cream to go in there, and some cheese. Now, before anything else, I'm going to add the chicken broth. I'm using chicken broth today, but you could use beef broth. And actually, I'm using a bouillon here. So what I did, I parboiled the potatoes so that they're cooked and they don't take long to cook. And I used the potato water as part of the stock. And that adds the goodness. So just go down to the bottom of the pan, just make sure that there's nothing catching. Add the stock. Now, I've not added, as you notice, I've not added any seasoning to this at all at the moment, which, there we are. The herbs, I wanted to put those in first before I add seasoning. The potatoes. Now these are just parboiled, they're just fork tender. So we've only really got to heat everything through now because everything else is cooked. So let's get that done. Clear up my mess. There we are. And here I've got milk, a little sour cream, and this was the remainder of the butter that I had in the pan that I've not used because we didn't need it. Now I'm going to bring this up to the boil, heat everything through, and I want to taste and see if we need any seasoning. Yes. Not too much salt because the broth, the bouillon's got salt in it and the cheese has got salt in it. it needed some pepper. It still needs, it needs a little pepper. No more salt, but it needs some pepper. There we are. Add some pepper. Oh, these are my salt and pepper, and actually the out of an old Denby set, and they're really for vinegar and oil to make salad dressing at the table. But to this, oh, and I've not got a pan stand out. Let's just put a pan stand out. Ooh, like that. Cheese goes in there, and we just stir the cheese until it's dissolved and melted. Oh, look at that. Whilst that's melting, I'm going to get the cheesy patties out of the oven. I know that they're cooked. Boom. I can smell them. You see how nicely they've risen. So we put those on a plate to eat with the soup, even the one where a little bit of mixture has escaped. You could put a little grated cheese on the top, but I thought we'd got enough cheese for today. There we are. The cheese has melted. Beautiful. So we can put a little green onion on the top for decoration. So let's put some in a bowl and then we can decorate. Ooh, look at that. A meal in a bowl. There we are. A little green onion. A nice cheesy patty. And maybe we'll put a piece of tomato on the top. So 20 bucks. 20 bucks. You're on the line for 20 bucks. We made it just in time. Thank you, Jabor. We'll see you. Please stay safe. Thank you everyone for watching. Please go to Mrs. Calabash Cooks on Facebook. The recipes will be up online. Any comments, Mrs. Calabash, please, I'll be delighted to answer them for you. So buy on 20 bucks.
They can't pay the rent on the money that you spent. You can't get by on 20 bucks. 20 bucks. 20 bucks. Keep in time for 20 bucks. They keep on smoking. Oh, they ain't joking.